Hi, my name is Juliet and welcome you to my channel Intuitive Juliet. Today I am going to talk to you about not thinking and the relation to not thinking and time. Hi there, so if you're new here, my name is Juliet. I make spiritual content on YouTube and on TikTok right now. And I'm here to help you regain your intuition in a funky way. That science is funky, but you can't see it because I don't know things about cameras and lighting. So what I have recently have rediscovered is that when you come into the flow state, and I made actually 2 videos about this already, when you enter the flow state, you kind of abstain of thinking in a natural way. What's the flow state? The flow state to me, I'm not like reciting any studies or have done any studies myself. I just am using my own life as an example. The flow state to me is basically you going with the flow. Wow, great explanation. You're always doing either one of the two things, and it's kind of, wow, this is fucking no. So what you just witnessed wasn't going with the flow. That was going against the flow. Basically, in life, you're always doing one of these things. You're either going with the flow or you're going against it. You're either just focusing on positive thoughts or negative thoughts. And why are they the same? Because they're the same energy. This is what I learned from Bashar. Everything is the same energy because it comes from you, and you can attach negative meaning to it or positive meaning. Going with the flow means that even if things are happening that you don't want, you can still view them in a positive light and you can react to them indifferently. So kind of means that you're not really reacting to it. So in a modern 21st century type of way, it could be when, you know, someone is living the modern life of the modern woman or man. It means that, okay, so let's get out of bed. Let's do my morning routine. Oh, I want to get to work, but my car broke down. Oh no, what do I do? Get real mad about it and my entire day is ruined and I'm gotta call my boss and I can't get to work now. What do I do? Blah, blah, blah. It's gonna cost me money. Okay, so that's going against the flow. Going with the flow saying, well, I could now worry and about money, about how much it's gonna cost me. But I also just could, you know, it's something that's happened and it's out of my control and I could just accept it and I'm just going to kind of be and just expect nothing. Even expecting nothing is better than expecting the worst. And you could say, yeah, but Juliet, my car broke down. How can I not react to that? Well, that's called going with the flow. Okay, you can do this too. I did this too. I don't own a car. Joke's on you. But it's just an example, right? So what happens when you go with this invisible flow that exists within the 99.99% of infinite potential? So we only see 0.00001%, and we're mostly focused on the 0.00001%. This means that we always recreate the 0.00001%. Going with the flow means we don't react to the 0.00001%. I'm counting that zeros in my mind. It means that we don't expect anything. And it means that when something happens, we don't attach meaning to it. It means that the thoughts that run on an automatic cycle within our minds, that's kind of like a computer, it means we see them as good as well. And we don't devaluate them just because they don't feel good. It means that we understand that every single moment is a separate reality because we're shifting 1 billion times per minute. Not per minute, per second. Not per second, per millisecond. So you're always recreating this new version of yourself and you always have the potential to be a new version of yourself. But because you're focused on the narrow-mindedness that we learn as children on the 0.00001%, it means that we constantly recreate that. When you go to the flow, when you go with the flow, it all kind of falls away. It all becomes non-utilizable. It's not a word. Non-usable. You decide what you give meaning. You decide what you assign meaning. So when something happens, even if it's something real bad, you can still decide, do I assign meaning to it or not? What kind of meaning do I assign to it? Because the kind of meaning that you are going to assign to it it means that you are going to get that meaning or gain that meaning from it. So if you assign something negative, a negative meaning to something, the only thing that you can gain from that is also something negative. So what is this whole setup about the relation between thoughts and time? It means that thoughts create time. It means that time does not exist. It means that time is man-made. And your thoughts play, I think, even the main role in that. Your thoughts, when you don't think. Okay, so this is what I experienced 2 times in my life now. When I go with the flow. And mostly this happens in the morning because nothing has triggered me yet. And I am in my most flow state. I've just woken up out of a slumber, a deep slumber. And I am basically new and fresh, right? I have to go to work in the morning. So I get up, do my thing, shower, blah, blah, do my makeup. And I remember this because it happened, I think it happened Sunday or yesterday even. And man, the days feel so like they have nothing to do with each other. Like time feels so flexible and bendable and weird. And it's not like it's speeding up. It's just like, I'm not experiencing time. I'm such a fucking hippie. But you know what I mean, okay? I'm the least hippie person there is. I was doing my makeup. And I can do my makeup within like half an hour. I can also rush really fast and do it within 10 minutes. But most of the time, I'm just sitting there and it takes half an hour. And this is kind of the routine that I have for, I think, like even half a year or something. So I do my makeup and I'm nearly done. And I'm in the moment, I'm in this flow state. And I realize that only like 10 minutes have passed. And I'm like, yeah, this makes sense because I didn't have any thoughts. And I think that we also have thoughts that even if we are so aware, that kind of slip by our awareness that also create time. So it could be like, it could be as literal as, in 15 minutes I have to go. It could be when I'm at work, I'm going to do this. You know, all these things kind of indicate a time frame that something's going to happen. Because all we ever do in our minds, we create these psychological concepts of the future and the past. And they don't exist anywhere but in our minds. So it would make sense that the whole sense and the whole feeling of time is created also in your mind through either feeling or thoughts. And in my mind, feelings and thoughts kind of represent the same thing. Because I feel like thoughts are just the language of feelings and also the other way around. Now I think it's actually that thoughts are just a language of, or the expression of feelings, you know? The feeling mostly comes first and then follows the thought. I'm just obsessed with this concept that is time, because it's like you can even reverse your aging. You can even feel so much in the moment that the aging process either slows down or stops entirely. And I have heard 𝒂𝒂𝒻𝒃 saying too that aging is only a belief and it's not real. Aging, I think it's a gravital belief, like being tied down to gravity, right? Because I believe anything is possible. Yeah, I believe anything is possible. So why, you know, and there are some people who can actually levitate, right? So they defy gravity, literally. But I think the belief about aging is as ingrained into us as the belief about being tied down to the physical laws. But what if you could reverse that, or reverse that? What if you could outrun it? Not outrun it. What if you could bypass it, right? What if time is not real? What if I'm right? What if I'm wrong? What if this just resonates with you? Then I'm right. And if it doesn't, I'm wrong. But do you get what I'm saying? It's like when you don't have thoughts, time doesn't really exist. Bashar also says that if you feel like maybe you're doing something very, like you're in the flow state, you're doing your passion, you're making music, you're writing an essay, I don't know. And 3 hours have passed in time because we're still tied down to believe that time exists, even though we might not feel it. And it might even become obsolete one day entirely. But I still believe that there's something, you know, there's something that's called time, but I don't believe that we're tied down to it. But if you do something for 3 hours and it feels like only half an hour has passed, then in aging, right, in your mind, only half an hour has passed. And this makes a lot of sense, because why would time be excluded from from manifesting. Especially when everything that is the future and the past exists nowhere but in your mind. So even if you don't believe it, if you only look at that fact that future and past exist nowhere, the whole thing that's called time is kind of debunked. But it is goddamn useful. So it's not a bad thing. Not saying that it's a bad thing, but it's just something very interesting to me. And I hope that this was interesting to you too. So thank you so much for watching. I hope I'll see you in the next video. And like and subscribe. Tweet me at David Dobrik. And I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.